They laughed when I reached for the check, and in that moment I understood something I had spent my entire life trying not to learn. Poverty is not just a lack of money, it is a lack of permission to belong. I can still hear that laughter, light and careless, slicing through the room and settling inside my chest like a judgment I could never escape. My name is Daniel Mercer, and this is the story of how being humiliated for being broke slowly taught me to betray myself. I was born in a town where ambition was considered dangerous. My father fixed engines in a leaking garage behind our house, his hands permanently stained with oil, his back slowly bending under work that never seemed to end. My mother cleaned office buildings after midnight, polishing the floors of people who would never learn her name. We were not starving, but we were always calculating. How many days could we stretch a bag of rice? Which bill could wait without the lights being cut? How long could we pretend everything was fine? From childhood, I learned the quiet rules of being poor. Never ask for too much. Never complain. Never believe you deserve more than you are given. I learned to smile when embarrassed, to nod when dismissed, to say it's fine even when it wasn't. Hope, I learned, had to be modest. When I left for the city at 24, I believed I was escaping all of that. I believed discipline and intelligence would eventually outrun my past. I rented a narrow room with a single window that faced a brick wall so close I could almost touch it. I worked days at a logistics firm entering invoices and tracking shipments. At night, I studied finance at a community college, convincing myself that every formula I memorized was one step closer to a different life. I told myself this was temporary. Then we met on an elevator that stalled between floors. She was irritated at first, tapping her phone, then amused, then curious. For 40 minutes, we talked about books, music, and how people pretend to be confident when they are only afraid. She worked in marketing on the 23rd floor. I worked in operations in the basement. Our early love was perfect because it was simple. Coffee after work. Long walks through cheap neighborhoods. Late nights sharing playlists and childhood stories. I never lied about my situation, but I learned to edit it carefully, leave out the numbers, emphasize the plans. For a while, love protected me, until her world began to surround us. Her friends were consultants, analysts, junior partners. They spoke in acronyms and bonuses. They treated restaurants like offices and money like punctuation. At first, they were polite. Then curious. Then dismissive. The first time I felt truly exposed was at a group dinner. When the waiter placed the bill in front of me, I picked it up by reflex. Michael, her closest friend, laughed loudly. Careful, Dan. That number might cause permanent damage. The table laughed. Someone added, relax, it's more than his rent. Clara smiled. Not cruelly. Not kindly. Just enough. I passed the bill without a word. On the walk home, she said, they're just joking. You take everything too personally. But humiliation does not need cruelty. It only needs silence. After that, the changes were small but relentless. She suggested better restaurants. She paused when paying. She spoke more often about the future, always in terms of houses, schools, neighborhoods I could not afford. The word ambition became a diagnosis she applied gently but often. I just want stability, she said. I'm tired of struggling. When my promotion was delayed, she grew distant. When my car broke down, she sighed. When I worked overtime, She accused me of hiding from reality. Finally, one night, she said what had been building for months. "I love you," she said, staring at the wall, "but love doesn't pay for the life I want." We broke up quietly, no screaming. No tears, just the understanding that money had won. After she left, my life became mechanical: work, study, sleep, repeat. I told myself I was patient. In truth, I was becoming bitter. My anger had nowhere to go, so it settled into a cold, disciplined place inside me. I stopped believing in fairness. I started believing only in leverage. Then opportunity arrived. At work, I was assigned to an internal audit project involving payment routing systems. Complex software. Outdated controls. Minimal oversight. One evening, reconciling accounts long after everyone had gone home, I noticed something that should not exist: a dormant vendor ID still active in the system, a ghost account. I stared at it for a long time. I knew immediately what it meant. With a few keystrokes, I could route small amounts there. No alerts. No immediate reconciliation. A flaw buried in bureaucracy. For days, I did nothing. Then one night, after another humiliating call from a debt collector, I made the first transfer, $500. Nothing happened. No emails. No warnings. That night, I slept deeply for the first time in months. I told myself it was temporary. Compensation. Survival. Over the next year, I refined the method. Small transfers. Infrequent. Always disguised as rounding errors or service fees. I built a second life quietly. I paid off debts. Bought better clothes. Moved into an apartment with real light and space. For the first time, I stopped counting every dollar. And then, by accident or fate, I saw Clara again. She barely recognized me. This time, I ordered wine without hesitation. I paid confidently. I spoke calmly. Her eyes changed. We talked. We laughed. We started seeing each other again. She said, "You're different now." I was. 6 months later, she moved in. We traveled. We planned. We spoke about marriage and houses. For the first time in my life, I felt equal. Then came the night everything collapsed. She came home pale, trembling. "My company is under investigation," she said. "Financial irregularities tied to your firm's systems." My stomach tightened. She added, "I reported it months ago. I suspected something was wrong." The truth unfolded slowly and brutally. She had known about my scheme long before we reunited. She had come back not out of love, but strategy. She gathered evidence from my computer, my access, my habits. She traded me for immunity and a promotion. They arrested me 2 weeks later. At trial, I listened as my life was translated into numbers. 6 years. In prison, money meant nothing. Status meant nothing. Only memory remained. I replayed every decision. The laughter. The silence. The first transfer. The first lie. I was released after 4 years. Today, I teach basic accounting at a community center to people who remind me of myself, and here is the lesson I paid for with my freedom. Poverty did not make me a criminal. Humiliation did. If you let the world convince you that your worth is measured in money, you will eventually try to steal back your dignity in ways that cost you everything. I thought I was proving my value. In truth, I was destroying it.